And this from the Chancellor, who said that she would never make a spending commitment without explaining where the money was coming from. Yet another U-turn.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I do wonder what exactly goes on in Rachel Reeves' head. But guess what?
Under his watch, the cost...
Rachel Reeves certainly didn't see this coming. Confronted by furious MPs, she simply can't give a straight answer. And why? Maybe because she hasn't actually got one.
The Office for National Statistics says the number of available jobs is collapsing. The Institute of Directors, perhaps the Chancellor hasn't updated herself on how British business thinks about confidence. The Institute of Directors says today that business confidence has plummeted.
While the British economy staggers on, Reeves bangs on about the past but can't face the future. And the irony? She still pretends freezing tax thresholds while spending money we haven't got is what passes for responsible leadership. Really? What you're about to see exposes every contradiction and asks one simple question: if she can't answer now, when will she ever? So do your bit like this video, share it far and wide, drop a comment below, because Labour would rather you didn't hear any of this.
Speaker, from responses to my written parliamentary questions, we know that the median earner can expect to pay £273 more in tax this year under Labour. When the Chancellor sat on this side of the House, she described freezing tax thresholds as picking the pockets of working people. Does the Chancellor accept that she's the one picking the pockets of working people now?
Well, in the budget last year, we increased taxes by £40 billion, but without affecting the pay packets of ordinary working people. We didn't increase their national insurance, their income tax or their VAT, and we didn't go ahead with the wrong-headed increase in fuel duty that was put in by the party opposite. We are protecting working people, and the party opposite picked their pockets time and time again.
Jack Rankin.
We all know that there is a difference between welfare cuts and welfare reforms. These cuts were the maths of Treasury mandarins. It's the same thinking that saw winter fuel payments taken from pensioners. Now they've U-turned on both of those. When will they finally back British farming and U-turn on the family farm tax?
The problem with the Conservative Party is that they support all the funding, but they don't support any of the ways of funding it. Agricultural property relief means that estates worth more than £3 million will now be taxed at half the rate of which inheritance tax is usually charged. That can be repaid over a 10-year period, interest-free. I think that is the right and fair settlement, given the fiscal environment we face.
Minister James Wilde.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First, it was a humiliating reversal of the Chancellor's winter fuel cuts. Now, welfare cuts that she rushed to meet her fiscal rules have been shredded, leaving unfunded spending to pay for. In October, the Chancellor said extending the freeze and income tax thresholds would hurt working people and take more money out of their pay slips. So does she stand by the commitment to end that freeze from 2028, yes or no?
Well, of course, it was his government, when they're on this side of the House, that froze those allowances, taking more money out of the pockets of working people. And despite that, they left a £22 billion black hole in the public finances. I'm not taking any lessons from the party opposite, who have opposed everything that is needed to invest in our public services, which is how we are in the mess we are in because of the damage that they caused.
Richard Fuller, Shadow Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Labour's jobs tax has really clobbered British businesses. The Office for National Statistics says the number of available jobs is collapsing. The Institute of Directors, perhaps the Chancellor hasn't updated herself on how British business thinks about confidence. The Institute of Directors says today that business confidence has plummeted. The Bank of England is warning of significant declines in wage growth. And the British Chamber of Commerce says taxes on businesses cannot be increased. But now, the Chancellor has bungled welfare changes, eviscerating confidence in the Prime Minister and blowing an even bigger hole in the public financing, meaning she will raise taxes yet again this autumn. So will the Chancellor avoid creating the same damaging uncertainty she did last summer by ruling out from the dispatch box today any further tax increases on British businesses?
I'm not going to take lessons from the party opposite that increased taxes 25 times. And when they increased taxes, it was always ordinary working people who paid the price. In our budget last year, we protected the pay slips of ordinary working people by not increasing their income tax, their national insurance or their VAT, and we didn't go ahead with the planned increase in fuel duty that the party opposite had planned. So instead of talking down the British economy, why doesn't the party opposite back the plans that are backed by British businesses to grow our economy and make working people in our country better off?
Mill Stride, Shadow Chancellor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the winter fuel payment U-turn will cost £1.25 billion. The welfare reform U-turn will cost £2.5 billion, all adding to Labour's unfunded black hole. And this from the Chancellor, who said that she would never make a spending commitment without explaining where the money was coming from. Yet another U-turn. But, Mr. Speaker, the Chancellor has also said that her fiscal rules are ironclad and non-negotiable. So could she reconfirm that commitment now, or are we heading for yet another U-turn?
Well, it would be a bit more, take it a bit more seriously if the party opposite weren't actually voting against the welfare reforms this evening, and if they hadn't committed to fully reverse the winter fuel changes, which is going to cost a further £400 million that they can't explain. Now, look, I am always grateful to the right honourable gentleman for his questions, because he always offers a useful lesson in what not to do. Even George Osborne now says that the Shadow Chancellor has no credible economic plan. Now, I'll give him this. He knows a thing or two about welfare spending, because under his watch, the UK became the only country in the G7 with an employment rate stuck below pre-pandemic levels. And under his watch, the cost of working age inactivity rose by £15.7 billion a year.
Right.
The Right Honourable Lady, the House will note, did not categorically rule out the possibility of changing the fiscal rules in the autumn. Given that, could I ask her, will she at least confirm that she stands by her commitment not to raise the rates of income tax, national insurance or VAT in the autumn? Is it a yes, or is it another potential U-turn?
We made a commitment in our manifesto not to increase the key taxes that working people pay. We stick by those commitments because, unlike the party opposite, we stick by our manifesto.
Mr. McVeigh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Chancellor believe that the changes she has made to the employers' national insurance contributions will lead to higher levels of employment, or will it lead to higher levels of unemployment?
Well, let's look at the record so far. There are 385,000 more jobs in the UK economy today than there were when Labour came to office a year ago. That's more than 1,000 jobs a day. So businesses are voting with their feet, taking on more workers because of the policies by this Labour government compared to the Tory policies which took our economy down.
If you value honesty over spin, hit like, share this everywhere, and tell us exactly what you think below.